Today we're going to be talking about Warsaw, because you all have been dying to hear about it for some reason. Now, Warsaw, pronounced Warszawa in Polish, is Poland's largest city, it's the modern cultural center, and not to mention that it's been the capital for several centuries now. So it's basically like the center of Poland. Now, it became the capital in 1596. Before that, Warsaw was just like a little fishing town. There are not really any historical buildings from the medieval times. Not to mention also that the city was basically destroyed in World War II. Like, nothing was there. So any historical buildings that you'll see are probably going to be reconstructed. And when I mean probably, I literally mean 90% chance. Now, just like every other capital city in Poland, just like every other capital city in the world, Warsaw has literally 2,000 monuments, so I'm only going to name the major ones that I've been to. First up is Janky Park. Now, Janky Park was built by the last king of Poland, Stanisław Augustus. He'd moved from his winter residence to Janky Park to rule from there. And there you can see all the different palaces where the government was seated during that time. Now, believe it or not, this is one of the few places in Warsaw where the buildings are actually original. Buildings you see were actually lived in by the king and his wife. Along with this historical value, Janky also is a very nice garden. I don't really have a big appreciation for nature because I live right next to a forest preserve, so I'm used to it, but this thing is pretty sick, to put it in urban terms. So Janky is a good mix of natural and historical things. Also, fun fact, Janky means bathroom in Poland. So, next up is the Old Town. Now, the Old Town was all destroyed by the Germans, but it was so faithfully reconstructed that it's on the UNESCO Heritage List. It's the only object on that list which is reconstructed. And then finally, in the center of the Old Town, we have the Royal Castle. Now, in Warsaw, you're going to see a lot of palaces, which are sort of basically like big white homes. There's a whole neighborhood filled with them. And for some reason, the biggest palace in Warsaw is called the Royal Castle. This was where the king lived and where the Parliament of Poland and Lithuania met. So it was the political center of Poland and Lithuania for several decades, not to mention that its subjects included Jews, Belarusians, Ukrainians, and some Germans, I think. It offers a good historical view of Poland's history just before the partitions, when it was divided up by Prussia, Austria, and Russia. It shows really interesting artifacts. My favorite was the throne room. I've never actually seen a throne, and to me, a throne was always a figure of speech. So it was really cool seeing the throne room in the Royal Castle. So I do suggest visiting the Royal Castle. It is English-friendly, like most things in Warsaw. Now we move on to a place which isn't really historical, and kind of has a sad history, but it's one of the tallest buildings in the EU. The Pałac Kultury i Nauki, also called Pekin. It means the Palace of Culture and Science. It was built by Stalin in the 1950s as a gift from the friend of Poland, the Soviet Union. It was a gift which you couldn't refuse because you would get shot. So it was sort of to show Soviet dominance in Poland, but it is the tallest building in Warsaw. The view is actually pretty good in my opinion. A lot of people say that it's bad. I liked it personally. It was a good show of everything in Warsaw. Other than the terrace, there's nothing you'd want to come in for. It's just a cool communist building to look at from afar. Now, Warsaw not only has a job of being the commercial center of Poland, but it also has a job of showcasing its historical part. And I think they do a good job of blending in the historical buildings with the different malls and shops and whatnot. I mean, I think the Royal Castle is only like a mile away from Pekin. Again, it's really faithfully constructed. It has an awesome atmosphere. Like I said, the Warsaw's Old Town is like my favorite part of Warsaw. But the problem is that all of this historical and commercial stuff is very large. You have to use a car at least. So in conclusion, Warsaw is a historical place, but it also is the commercial center of Poland. So it sort of mixes those two very well. It was raised, but very faithfully reconstructed, and it's just a cool city to go to. I mean, if you want to go see a good blend of modern Europe and historical Europe, I definitely go to Warsaw. It's sort of like a typical European city in my opinion. Alright, Cat Thumbs out.